What is up, guys? How are you guys doing? You guys are doing phenomenal, aren't you? I didn't even have to ask. It was a rhetorical question. We're gonna be doing some mind power right now, and I'm gonna fill you guys in on what just happened. There is this guy that I know, and he has this little pet pig, and he was just downstairs just now. Freaking, here it is. They were downstairs and they were doing like a little photo shoot with this pig, and so it was pretty funny. But yeah, that's just right down here in the courtyard here. And I've seen him before with the pig, and it's cool. But it's funny how people love the pig so much. Like, people are just like love it, like even more than like usually like a little puppy, you know, because he's like a novel, you know, it's a pig. You don't see him every day. But it's just funny how people love it so much, but we're still eating like pepperoni and bacon and stuff. But I don't know, it's just something to think about. That's a different conversation for a different time, different subject matter. What we are going to do is get into this mind power, guys. Okay, so the number one thing that we are thinking about, we're going to time this out, 5 minutes each. It is now 1:04 and we're going to go to 1:09. So thoughts are real forces, and this means when we contemplate this, that we are thinking to ourselves, wow, okay, you know, if thoughts are real forces, maybe I shouldn't be completely getting pissed off at this person and putting that negative energy out into the field. It's a quantum field. It's always reacting towards us. And when these thoughts are real forces, we realize, man, like that might not be the best way to be exerting this energy right now. I literally earlier today rear-ended somebody. And it's because I feel as if I've been having a shitty week, like I said in my other video. And all these things kind of compile and they add up, and in ways that we wouldn't really realize, we are sending out those negative thought vibrations, if that is the case, and then we are receiving the fruit of those seeds. And it can be no other way, as we've heard before, as above, so below. And as below, so above. So it is a reflection that we get reflected back to us nice and neatly every time. No matter what kinds of thoughts we're thinking, it's gonna be reflecting that accurately. So when we realize this, we can begin to rein our thoughts in and bring those reins back and say, hey, you know what? We're gonna hold those tight. We're gonna say, hey, we're not gonna be entertaining these thoughts that this person is a fucking douchebag. And instead, we're actually going to shift our attention to something. So let's press X on that little pop-up. Didn't want to see that one, didn't want to see that one. But now this one over here, that looks a little bit better. How about the fact that we are engaging in what makes us happy, and the fact that I am making this video. The fact that my neighbor has a pig and it's so cute. And the fact that anything else that I want to think of. Because as we think, we create. With our thoughts, we create. With the word, we create. And we can shift that thinking. There's so many ways we can do it. And the tough part is that we always, when we get into this negative spiral, it is very hard for us to come out, because now we have momentum. And much like in the book Transurfing, the negative thought vibrations are a lot easier for us to latch onto, because it signifies a threat. In our nervous system, we are perceiving now a threat, and we enter into a fight or flight state. That is how we have developed. That is how we have been evolved. And this is something that we just basically acknowledge, and it's okay. You can give yourself a little back rub and say, hey, you know what? It's okay. This is time to be a little bit gentle with yourself, not too strict on yourself and too unforgiving, and tell yourself, you know what, I know it's easy for me to delve into these negative emotions and to really get pissed off right now, or have that lead into sadness, or, you know, anguish, deep feelings of any negative feeling. It's easy to get that tangent, to go on that and entertain those. But I'm going to take a step back, take a breath, and now allow myself to access that observer, that overseer, and really be now in a state where, okay, we can look at things a little bit more objectively. Let's not make any super rash decisions while we're in this state, because I definitely have made those this week, and that's definitely contributed to the cycle and the pattern. It just keeps to continue to get worse and worse. So that's something that we can do. Take a step back, and you will really be glad that you did. I'm certainly glad that I have now taken a step back, although it did take me about a week or something like that of a bunch of shit to kind of just be and have it kind of, I culminated in just feeling like absolute shit today. Having that deep little talk with my dad today. It wasn't a little talk either, it was like an hour long. It was a heavy talk, and you know, then I talked to some other friends of mine, and I luckily, I found this notebook, and I'm so grateful that I have this notebook and that I have the wherewithal about me to write some of these things down, because it's as if I knew that my future self was going to run into these frustrations and these troubles, and this notebook would be here waiting for me. It's 109 now, so now we're going to number 2. The mind is a sending and receiving station of thought. So, we know that thoughts are real forces, and also that we are constantly sending and receiving these thoughts or these forces. With this knowledge, we can now, once again, we take note of the thoughts that we are entertaining, and the thoughts and the people and the types of vibrations that we're allowing ourselves to be around, because it is very easy in this society to get pulled down and to even, of course, obviously not consciously, be affected by other people's moods, other people's reactions. People are prone to, people are fickle, people are emotional. We are all, although we would like to believe it and put on this front that we are completely stable and emotionally, poised at all times, we are fragile creatures, and just like you will run into a mood, other people are the same. And a lot of the times people will do things, and it's not necessarily you that's causing these things, but you may be on the back end of these things, and it is important to remove that, take that little gap and that space to not take things so personally. Because as we're saying here, the mind is a sending and receiving station. We don't have to receive every single thought vibration that is sent toward us, or every vibration that is even in the atmosphere. We could potentially be around, even somebody, if somebody's not verbalizing anything, somebody could be holding a negative energetic state, and we can allow that energy to be absorbed by us. And yes, we have that capability to absorb other people's energy. As we say, it's a sending and receiving station. And we also, though, can, like I said, hit that little X on that, say, you know what, thank you, but not this time today, sir, madam. How about you? How do you feel about this? Turn our attention to the more conducive thought, the more conducive vibration that is going to put us in a state where we are going to be closer and closer to that best, most poised, most authentic, most amazing version of ourselves, in which we are able to walk into a room and flip our hair back and have the entire crowd go wild. Not necessarily that that's our main goal, but it could happen. It wouldn't be the first time. But anyways, I digress. What I'm saying is that we are able to, when we send out these thoughts, we can quiet the mind from thinking being in these negative prone states to thinking and reacting, and we can say, hey, nope, no thanks, we're gonna go with this instead today. I know that you really like coming over, but I'm actually having some other guests over today, and so we'll have a chat next time. We'll talk later. And cutting the conversation short with Mr. Negative over here, Mr. Negative, or Miss Negative Nancy. So, yes, now we are on this, the sending and receiving station. Yeah, that's just so valuable. We have the power to affect obviously not only ourselves, but people around us. And so it is of our utmost importance and diligence that we be aware of these thoughts, and that's the first step. So being aware, getting a little bit more breath into the body, the deep belly breathing, breathe into those nether regions, breathe into your lower part of your body, and we're gonna basically that's gonna help you. I mean, it's when we get into that reactive state, we're all like up here, we're all heady. If you guys seen Wolf of Wall Street, he's like, yeah, that's why you need to feed the goose, and you need to go to the bathroom and jerk off like multiple times a day. Not necessarily agreeing with that methodology, but this the same thing that we're talking about. He's talking about the numbers and everything is so that they're dealing with is so heady in such a high little head space. It's like when we don't breathe, we're cutting ourselves off from the rest of our body, the rest of our being. So now we are forever experiencing thought. This is we're on number 3. Thoughts that are emotionalized become magnetized and bring similar and like thoughts. Guess where you can see an example of this? When you're having that shit week. When you have that one shitty thing that happens. Let's say that you just had something good happen. You've heard some good news. You ran into some success. You feel as if you might have just hit that vein of the wave of fortune. And you were on the outside of it, and you were about to be, if luck favors you, you are going to be on a smooth path towards more and more fortunate events, and you're going to be riding that wave, and you can't freaking wait. But now, out of nowhere, out of the blue, in comes Mr. Dark Energy, or just anything negative that happens. Let's say that you had plans, you had organized some plans, and then people bailed on them. And this actually happened, but I'm not going to go into the details. But people bailed on them, and it actually caused a ripple effect to where then something else happened that was bad. And then you lost face in this certain scenario, and it made you look bad in this scenario. And then you kind of just embraced those negative. You were like, man, yeah, this is fucked up. And you went into those emotions. You really, really felt those emotions like, fuck, god damn, this is fucking shitty. And let's say that you not only had that little whatever, it's not even about having a little mini outburst. It's more of the stewing and the inner self-talk that is the most insidious part of this, where you are like, your self-talk might be something along the lines of like, yeah, of course this would happen. I always have trouble with X, Y, and Z, and of course X, Y, and Z did this to me because they're fucking stupid, and blah, 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 blah. I'm sure you get the picture. It's not a pretty one. And if you go and you really stew and you really get down in the trenches with these negative ass emotions, my friends, they're going to bring some friends. I can tell you that right now. They just walked in through the door and they're calling out for their homie, say, hey, yeah, the door's open, come on in. And there's a big ass welcome mat saying, hey, you know what? We're actually having a party tonight. Basically, where I'm going with this is that, yeah, and the vice versa is true as well. So if you say that you are on that wave of success and you have your head and something doesn't, or okay, I'm going to go into 2 examples here. Let's say that in the original example that bad thing does happen, but you say, hey, you know what? It happens, shit happens, not going to take it too hard. We're just going to continue with this plan, because now you have something else going on where you are able to basically be like, yeah, that, plan X was a failure, like a flop, but you know what? Plan Y over here is looking fantastic. And you just change your attention. Like I said, it's just a matter of changing the attention, changing the area of focus. That's really what you want to be doing. Of course, in the other situation that I said, let's say that it didn't happen, nothing happened that was bad, you have no reason to be looking in this direction. You only see this amazing stuff over here. You're like, wow, that looks really good. You're like, I need me some more of that right now. So you go and get you some, is what I'm saying. So, okay, that's number 3. Now we're on number 4. We are forever experiencing thought, but we have the power and ability to either entertain those thoughts or dismiss them. What do you know? What were we just talking about? Perfect little segue if I don't say so myself. Exactly what we're talking about here. We got the power to either entertain these guests who we don't want to entertain. How many of you have had people over that either disrespected you or were unclean or caused a mess, or in some way you did not want them to be at your house, but you just for whatever reason were just taking it. You were just like, okay, I'm just gonna sit back and just, these people are just gonna, get my carpets dirty, walk around, be loud, they're gonna smoke cigarettes and get their mud on their shoes on my carpet, and I'm not gonna do a damn thing. I think there was at one point in my life where I entertained that type of behavior for a little bit. I'm remembering a specific scene, and I told the guy, I was like, dude, I told you not to smoke cigarettes in here, because I'd already told him. I was like, dude, just fucking leave. And yeah, it's a little bit confrontational, and obviously, but that's the choice, is are you going to let these negative fuckers, these negative ass thoughts walk all over you and get what you have worked so hard to keep nice and good as a good environment here, your temple, your place of rest, your place where all of this, are you going to allow them to just muddy it all up and fuck it all up? Or are you going to say, hey, you guys need to leave, and I'm going with, like I said, plan Y over here because she's looking good, you guys don't. The choice is really ours at all times. When we start going down into those negative thought patterns and experiencing those negative emotions, it becomes you know how it is. It's not fun. It's not pretty. And that's the most difficult time to rise above and say, you know what, this is just, it's absolutely about, I think firmly, and I believe in this, is right now, is it's cutting it off. And there's different methods of that, but you cut those thoughts off, and then you are able to entertain the good stuff. There's no fighting it. You can't resist. They say what you resist persists. It's very true. I'm sure you've come to the same conclusion. Hating it, and the more and more that you hate the situation, not going to get any better. But what we do have the control over to do is to say, you know what, that was fucked up, but it is what it is, because my attention literally just not even going that far, look, that was fucked up. Okay, so this picture over here, now what do we have over here? Just it's instantaneously. And you may have a little bit of a lesson that goes with that, but what I would say the first and foremost lesson of all of this is you don't want to be entertaining that shit, because the more that you stew over those thoughts and the more that you're in that negative vibration, what the lesson that I've learned and taken away from these situations is that that's going to cause more of that shit to happen. So that's why I say immediately switch over your attention. That's just what I'm thinking. And what I feel in this moment is the best thing to do, the best way to do that. And like I said, the technique I like is pretending like there's pop-ups. Other people call them, they're weeds. You take the weeds out of your garden. You're doing your gardening. You want to keep that garden nice and beautiful, like we said. Now so number 5 we got, which is insertion. We have the power and ability to insert any thought of any kind into our mind. We are not limited with the thoughts that we choose. This is one of my faves, because this really is an empowering one, where we get to say, hey, you know what? And this is what I was doing earlier with this exercise that I had. I was saying that these are important. You ask yourself these questions that assume they're assumptive questions. They're a solution-oriented way of thinking. This says, how can I move more quickly toward my career? What can I do more or less of to attract my perfect partner? Who could help me reach my goals faster? What would it be like if I was playing on stages? What would it be like if I had 100 YouTube subscribers? What would it be like if I woke up excited for the day and filled to the brim with energy to take on my day in the best and most efficient way possible. You ask yourself these sort of things, and what happens is when we ask ourselves a question, there is no choice. Our brain automatically comes up with an answer. So this is a nice little hack that will get you able to start coming up and inserting these thoughts for yourself. Because that is certainly what we want to do, and that is almost the culmination of what we're doing here with this mind power. Is once we've uprooted the other weeds that we want, we are now planting the correct foliage of our choosing, and we are making the most beautiful garden that there ever was. I mean, what's her name, Nancy? She's gonna be jealous as fuck. Talking about Nancy's secret garden or whatever the fuck. She ain't even seen shit, I'm telling you guys. Now, what if something even better than what I want comes to me? What if everything I think is negative is actually pushing me towards my desires? Boom! Shakalaka! What if that was the case? Can you wrap your head around this? All those things, or here they are, all those things that was, oh man, that was fucked up, didn't want to think about that shit. Whew, what a relief. You know what? That those things actually happened to bring out the best version of myself, to bring out the stronger version, the version who can stand up in the face of adversity, stand in the face of adversity and say, no, 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 not today. Not today, adversity. Not today, mediocrity. We're going with beauty. We're going with success. We're going with passion. We're going with everything that makes us feel alive. We're going with that beautiful vision that we are creating and our beautiful intentions that we are casting in our reality and we are inserting into our thoughts, and that we are fully able to bring into this reality. Because as we know, thoughts are real forces, and when we are entertaining and consciously controlling our thought process, we are now creating that reality deliberately. We are now entering into that space where we are the deliberate creator of our reality. We're not reacting like some little fucking bitches anymore to what the fuck's going on around here. We're just saying, hey, we're pulling back the reins on our thoughts, saying, hey, we're not talking to them, we're not thinking or entertaining them. We are, however, entertaining these thoughts which are empowering, these thoughts which are leading us towards our vision, towards our greatest version of ourselves, and we're not apologizing to anybody for it. We're taking full responsibility, going the direction that we want to go. And we're emotionalizing it. And we are using that mind because we know that it is a sending and receiving station. We are also sending out those positive things, cutting off the negative ones, getting right back to it and right back to where we want to be. Man, feels good, doesn't it? It feels good to cut that negative shit, let that shit go, and embrace what we know that we can and will. Now, the sixth and last one, connection. The inner and outer worlds are connected. The outer world of our circumstances and situation and the inner world of our thoughts and reactions is connected. My camera's about to die pretty soon, so in case it does, I just want to tell you guys it's been fucking dope. Now, the inner and outer worlds being connected, similarly as the mind is a sending and receiving station, we are in conscious control, we have the control, and we are admitting this to ourselves, and we are accepting the full responsibility that while the outer world is hardly under our control, the inner world is under our direct control. If we relinquish our power, which we do so often, because we get the worlds confused, we think the outer world is the inner world, and because that bullshit is happening, there's no choice but for history to repeat itself, and I'm just going to be a victim again, and I'm just going to have to deal with this bullshit forever. And this is not the case, friends. The inner world is under our control. We have the power. We've learned we can chop off that negative. We can hit those boxes, and we can choose to entertain the things that we want to. And we can choose no matter how bad it gets. Now, if you're I'm living right now in LA, and I'm in my apartment. As you saw, my roommate just came in. No matter how shitty things could be getting, work-wise, social-wise, relationship-wise, health, or even anything that could go wrong, at the very least, I have a roof over my head. I'm living in a nice apartment. I'm thanking this, I can give my gratitude for the fact that, well, there's so many things in my life I can give gratitude for, but I'm just giving an example that the roof over your head, this is something that is keeping you sheltered. If you didn't have, imagine living on the street, imagining how that life would be. There's every day you wake up and you have a bed and you have clothing and there's people around you, and you're not stranded in a desert somewhere in a cold, barren wasteland. You have these resources at your disposal, and if you're in a first world country, which I'm guessing you are, if you're watching this video, you have access to clean water. You have access to food. You are most likely not starving, and you are able to, take care of yourself and sustain and be alive. And no matter how shitty your job schedule is or anything that's going on around you, you do have things. There are things, and as soon as you start to just think that. I'm so grateful for these walls. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful that I have running water and that there is I'm grateful for the air conditioner in here. I'm grateful for the heat. I'm grateful for that I have a couch, laptop, camera. As soon as you start sending out these positive vibrations to the things in your environment, what do we say? The mind is a sending and receiving station. Oh boy, you are going to be receiving some shit now. You are going to be in a state where, because you were planting those seeds, you were saying, you know what? So glad about this. You are literally planting seeds, and you're planting those better, more beautiful flowers in your garden. And guys, this is something that you cultivate every single day. And it is a practice. It is something that cannot be just done one time and then you can expect that, oh yeah, my garden's going to be clean from now on. This is an ongoing thing. It's like a daily thing. And whatever techniques you guys do, it's the most important principle I think out of all of this that we can take is whether or not you do these specific things every day is awareness. Bringing that awareness to your thoughts. You have something shitty happen, and having a technique or something that you can use to say, you know what, I'm not dealing with that. And for me, the one I said I like to use is hit the pop-ups on the X's on the boxes. Imagine them like they're pop-ups coming up. Say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna entertain these. I know that was shitty, and I'm gonna entertain these now because I am in the conscious control of my thoughts. Thank you guys very much. I hope that this has been beneficial for you guys, and I know it's a huge one for me. I know when I was doing this consistently, this mind power, it was something that I was really seeing results in my life. I was really seeing improvements. I was seeing progression.